This assembly is dedicated to Rick Williams and the undying spirit of his brother John T.
Hey
Williams.
everyone, I'm Jenna Alakitty McGee. I'm Nutrinal with First Nations and I'm president of Nathan Hale's Native Club. So this is our annual Native American Assembly hosted by our club because while a lot of Americans may not know, all of November is actually Native Heritage Month. So this month is about a lot more than just where we came from. It's about the journey that brought us here together today. And that journey was not an easy one. So before I start, we would also like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. November is a time to reclaim what we lost in the processes of colonization and celebrate it. Being able to embrace it is now an act of Native freedom and of reclaiming our voice. We were not legally allowed to practice our full cultural heritage until 1978, even though Indigenous lives were present at the birth of this nation and continue to contribute today. Colonization is still very prevalent in all of our societies, and we have remained resilient. We are Native now, Native still. This year we have decided to dedicate our assembly to the Williams family because 10 years ago in Seattle, John T. Williams, a Native woodcarver, was murdered by a Seattle police officer. The issue of police brutality is incredibly prevalent in Native American lives all over the United States, just as it is in many Black and Brown communities.
Hello, my name is Desiree Antrican. I'm Umskapi Pickney, also known as Blackfeet. I'm going to be talking about the police incident involving John T. Williams. John T. Williams was a First Nation 7th generation woodcarver. John T. Williams was killed on August 30th, 2010. Location: John T. Williams was killed on Bourne Avenue and Howell Street, Seattle, Washington. Cause of death: multiple gunshot wounds. Time of death: 4:15 p.m. The death of John T. Williams was filmed by Officer Ian Burke's patrol vehicle dash camera. There were no charges filed against Officer Ian Burke. Ian Burke resigned from the Seattle Police Department on February 16, 2011. In August of 2011, the City of Seattle paid John T. Williams' family a settlement of $1.5 million. Seattle Mayor Mike McGinn declared February 27, 2011 to be John T. Williams Day in Seattle. A 34-foot high totem pole honoring John T. Williams was erected at the Seattle Center on February 26, 2012. Ian Burke retained his police license and is still able to work as a police officer today in any other police department.
This part of Seattle's history is about to be completely erased. The corner where this event happened will look completely different a few months from now as buildings are torn down and others are built in their place. Our club has chosen to show about a minute and a half's worth of the actual dash cam footage. We know this may be upsetting and triggering to some. If you feel this way, you are welcome to mute your computers and lower your screens until this part of our assembly is over.
Air control, put down. Call up your phone in progress. Where are you? Designated shooter. He's already shot him. Right, we get it. Get behind me. Let's move up. Ready? We're gonna move up, all right? One kind of traffic shut off on Bourne at Stewart. Traffic shut down. Clear. Clear, please. Center control. Suspect in handcuffs. Getting firehead for Sandra American male, 35 years old. We have no one at the time.
Hello, my name is Maria Entrikin and I'm from the Tlingit Nation. Today I will be speaking about what John T. Williams was like as a child, the personal side of the shooting, and how his older brother is doing 10 years after John was shot and killed by the police. John T. Williams was born on February 27th in 1960. He was from the Didadat First Nation from Vancouver Island, British Columbia. John's native name was Onish, which means off the wall. His family says that he had the spirit of a big bear in a lot of ways. He was always so calm and strong. John T. Williams' family came to Seattle in between 1969 and 1980. There were a lot of them. John T. Williams had 11 siblings. He was very close to his brothers Rick, David, and Sam. Rick says that they were brothers forever. All of his brothers and sisters would come to Rick for advice with problems, and he could always find a solution. There is a reason why we are all wearing black bandanas today. The story goes back to when Rick Williams was just a 4-year-old boy. When they all lived in Victoria Island, British Columbia, he would get kicked out of school a lot because he would not give up his language and learn French, and he would not give up his traditional ways. When he got sent home, he thought that he was going to get in trouble, but instead, his grandfather gave him a black bandana and walked him back to school. His grandpa told him that the bandana represents a warrior that will not stop, and the color black protects you from all the negativity, protecting your strength like a medicine bag. We believe that negativity can open your spirit and damage it. You don't ever have to give in and follow the non-native ways. Never give an inch because heritage is everything, and the only free thing on this planet is a smile. We believe that when we smile, the Creator smiles, as we are all one with creation. When non-native people tried to divide the family, they all stayed strong and united. Even when all the brothers were kids, they were all very tight. In fact, all the brothers started carving at the age 4.5. They all used to sit in a circle and just carve. One day, all the brothers were at Pike Place Market and they were just carving. One person came up to them and asked them which one was the best carver. They only wanted to buy something from the best. They wanted them to compete so that they could judge and say which one of them was the best. In response to this, all the brothers put down their pocket knives and refused to compete. Not many families can stick together like that because of jealousy, envy, and many other personal reasons. John T. Williams and his family rejected and still do reject the non-native and non-traditional ways of living. They do what they love, which is carving, and they earn a living on it. They all know that they earned their money and that it is a gift to have anything that was not necessary, to have something that they didn't need to survive. You should be proud of where you come from and embrace it. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, what color of skin you have, or the language you speak. All of those things make you who you are, and you should be proud of that. John T. Williams was proud of where he came from. The place that he last lived was here in Seattle. He was a 7th-generation woodcarver, and he was very talented. One day, on August 30th of 2010, he decided to go for a walk. He probably walked a route that was very familiar to him. He was carving something in his hand with a small pocket knife. It was just a normal day for John T. Williams, and he probably thought nothing unusual was going to happen. A police officer was at a stoplight and saw that John T. Williams was carving something and for some reason determined that he was a threat. He stopped at a red light and saw that John T. Williams was crossing the street while carving a small piece of wood with the little pocket knife. That police officer got out of his car and shouted, "Hey, hey, hey, put the knife down." There is a dash cam video showing the police officer approaching John T. Williams, but we cannot see what's happening. We can only hear and imagine the actions and what they are doing. Suddenly, the police officer decided to pull out a gun and fire 6 times, and at least 4 hit John T. Williams in the back and killed him. This was not okay because the police officer probably only saw the knife and assumed that the carver was going to do something bad. What the police officer did not understand was that John T. Williams was doing something that he loved, carving and making something beautiful. Instead, he saw the little pocket knife and thought, "Whoa, that man has a knife." He didn't let John T. Williams talk and explain who he was and what he was doing. Later in the video, more police officers come to the scene and ask if the police officer that shot John T. Williams was okay. Then one police officer asks if they should move the body. Now you must ask yourself, did he say that because they didn't want the public to see the body? Or was it because they were trying to set it up to make it look like John T. Williams did something wrong? I know for a fact that he didn't do anything wrong. He was just walking on a sunny day doing something that he loved to do. The police officer called his little pocket knife a knife. Maybe that's why John T. Williams didn't stop. Maybe he thought the police officer was talking to someone else. I know that's what I would have thought. Another thing that happened in the video was that another police officer asked the original police officer to turn off his mic. Did he ask this because he wanted to hear the full story of what happened and give him advice? We'll never know. We can only guess why he asked him to do that. What the police officer did that day was wrong, and I hope he knows it. His actions were ruled as unjustified, and he didn't get prosecuted for his actions. It has been 10 years since this incident happened, and nothing has happened to the police officer. John T. Williams' death had a huge impact on his older brother, Rick Williams. He's a 65-year-old man, and he loves to carve. Even though going through something like that was and still is hard, Rick Williams chose to stay focused because he had to fight the hate and rage and keep those feelings away. He knows that being angry and being filled with hatred is not the native way. The police used to say, "Get over it," and that would really hurt him. Rick Williams would go right up to them and say, "He isn't dead. You guys murdered him. When you look at me, you see John T. Williams and the wrong that one of your own did to him. You feel guilty about what has happened." He always thinks to himself, "Rise and stand up. You must keep fighting as a peaceful warrior and know that who you are is good enough. That the calmer you are, the more you will find yourself and see who you are." Rick Williams struggled for 5 years with wanting to take his own life. He would hear racial slurs like Redskins, Apple, and drunk, and bad things about his younger brother, John T. Williams. He would hear the wolf inside of him say, "Get up, get up. Don't show how you feel." All the attention around John T. Williams' murder was making Seattle look bad, so they, the city, asked Rick Williams to carve a totem pole in honor of his brother. His grandfather was the first person ever to carve a female eagle, and one of his brothers always carved a raven. John T. Williams was the first to carve a kingfisher. All of his family was so special and so talented. Rick Williams thought about the totem pole his grandfather made back in 1950 to 1951 and wanted to create a totem pole that would represent his whole family. That's the thing about Native Americans and carving. It must mean something. They can't just think of something and carve it. You must sit down with them and spend time with them. You must tell them stories about yourself and about your family and about your life. They can picture everything that's going on. They can feel what you're feeling when you express it to them. While you are saying all these things, they grab a piece of wood and make something beautiful. John T. Williams' death was hard on a lot of people. His friends, his family, Native Americans, but most importantly, on himself. He will never get to talk to his brothers and sisters again, change the world with his beautiful art, never have that feeling again when you carve an old piece of wood and make something beautiful and new. I know that he's in the next world right now with his ancestors, learning new things and waiting for his family to join him. That might be a while, but for now, he's looking down on them, making sure that they're having a good time, making sure that they're safe. He's just enjoying them evolve into the people that he knew that they could become. Gunashish, thank you.
What it means to be a warrior without violence. I spent my life looking for that answer until they got John, and then I understood it. I always thought it was a riddle, but to the young people, I think no matter what's coming at you, take it, smile, bow, and if you must back away, normally a person would turn and walk away, but if the energy's that bad, back away from it. Out there when I go to my talks that you're the future, young people are the future, and I really hold them all in my heart for what they've done since May, maybe longer than that, but for the future, they're the ones that's going to make a difference because of what happened to John. You have, if you watch the video, keep an open eye and open heart. It's a true story, and the story isn't over yet. I do go out time to time and speak live about people to get up. I hear comments, I'm not Indian, I'm not Native. I hear their point of view, but I can only listen. My suggestion to them, you're a native of planet Earth. You're a native of Mother Earth. You're a human being. Get up. You know, at the time I listened to my heart when I'm going to speak because it's working after 10 years. Having 10 years of pain, anger, rage, you know, to go through something like this, see a doctor, I guess. Talk to somebody. You know, at my age, I'm trying, but there's still, here's proof, you know, so I'm trying, but it's been a part of my life to be that warrior my grandfather wanted us to be, and being the only one that's still standing with it. That if I could share this with the young people to get up, don't burn anything, don't break windows, don't hassle them, let them be the aggressive, because if you could get past that, you stepped into a class of warriors of old school that the future is yours. Don't step back, don't disrespect yourself, don't dishonor where you live, show great respect where you're living. That I say in 10 years what's happened to John, how far it's come now, that 10 years ago I said peace and everybody was irate, except me. You know, I'd rather share the thought of what it means to walk as a traditional warrior of old school. As I told John, I love a good fight, but I had enough sense not to do that to the badge because they would have brought their own kind of thunder. Mine was hear my grandfather's thoughts of, get ready. I said peace because, like I said, to share the story, 1969 before midnight, my brother John said something. And August 30th, 2010, I heard John's voice and my grandfather's voice. You gave your word. You know, and to this day, I still back it up because I'd rather the youth of America to get up, respect and honor yourself, your space, you know, to keep an open mind that these officers are going to come at you and they're the adults. And if you can keep standing, it will change, you know, but they will, like I said, they'll come with thunder at you to scare you, intimidate you, target you, put red flags on you, to take it. Stay strong, stay focused, don't let go. That you being the future, people my age or younger, will just see a snotty little kid, but that's not being human, in my opinion. I'd rather see them get up like they are now. I really hope in my heart they continue going forward for this, because there is peace.
I know there is. You're living proof.
It keeps me going. I want to keep my word as long as I'm above ground, and to honor what I was asked and what I was taught. But to bring me to a classroom of young people, I know I'll run into the odd kid that will want to strike, but I'll listen and I'll share thoughts. I can only guide them. I can show you the journey I took as a kid from my grandfather or my great-grandfather about what to do in life. You know, violence doesn't solve anything. You know, their violence, that's just too... I gotta watch what I'm saying here. What they did to John was morally wrong. You know, that's about as far as I'll go to say what's inside me, what to teach this. I'm looking forward to it if I can help the young people to go forward with just being fearless, that they can do it, they can get up. You know, that to me would be the easy part, to share these thoughts with young people, that, as I've been saying all along, anything's possible. Have faith in yourself, you can do anything.
Yeah, it's true. They really admire you terribly.
Right.
They're really moved by the story of your brother, and you know your ongoing, like, holding him up in the way that's
I need lots of it. Sometimes I think Doc here gets tired. Only because I don't talk. In my heart, I know why I don't. But in my heart and soul, I know I'll have to say something. I've been teaching people, say something, and I could understand you if you don't say, how do you talk about this? How do you show the video again and say what you think? But if I do, I know it'll be censored, and I can't do that. My heart won't let me, because it will dishonor everything I went after to honor who John T. Williams is. You know, there's always another way. Well, it's taken 10 years of my life.
I think you've allowed us to see him in the way that, you know, you talked about him and your older brothers. And
The man that did this made a horrible mistake. He made a horrible choice. I'd rather the people not to have that hate in them. It doesn't serve anything. Or the anger or the rage because the cop did this. I look at history. I'm learning to accept it, that I did something so huge, something bigger than life, that I don't want that inside me. I'd rather share that anybody can stand up to odds like this, that start with having faith in self. You know, I know I'm the only person on the planet, from what I'm hearing from Europe, Japan, Canada, Alaska, Australia, all four corners, whatever, that what I did. And I thank them for it. You know, and I hang out, I go for a walk and I think what they're saying, but to take what I know, say, here's a gift, walk with it. That's basically what I'll do when it comes time to teach young people, that don't give up, stay strong, stay focused, stay calm. First, respect self and where you live. don't start a fire, don't fight, don't argue. Be that warrior, rise. I'm going to keep saying that. It's sinking in after all these years, but to live with something from 1918 or so in 2020, I find it easy, but some people say, nobody thinks like it anymore. I walk away thinking, well, it must be nobody. I just shook hands and I shook the world with my heart and my smile. That's kind of how I see it. But I look back at the day, August 30th, 2010, and how it's been. And to sum it all up, I see the police doing everything they can to gain control again. Mm-hmm. And they're losing it because the people here and across the country are walking in peace and honor the person who was taken. Every now and then you hear somebody demanding justice, mm-hmm. and that's only giving them a key to open the door to push even further to scare that family. Mm-hmm. And as for me, I bow and said, thank you, good luck with that. I still say that to them when I have to meet mm-hmm. them, but don't feed it. Stay strong and believe in yourself that no matter how big the obstacle is, you can get past this. My advice, if they're young and go through this, my advice is to find someone to really confide in and know who you're talking to, because they could turn it around you. I'm just saying from my experience in 10 years how they sent these people to help me and twisted my words. Mm-hmm. So I quit talking and I quit talking to them. Mm-hmm. But if I can talk to young people, encourage them that the worst is over. It's a new beginning, and it might as well start now. I haven't given up yet. Mm-hmm. I haven't given in. I haven't stepped back. I sure haven't taken a knee yet. I'd rather share something that someone my age or older knows the way it was and it can be. What changed? The Union changed Seattle. Now, if the citizens band together and understand as people, we have a voice, we have a right to say, stop. And so far it's working. I know there's still a few out there that wanted the way it was, the way it was going. And when I see them out there, like, hello, sir. Times I want to say, that must have hurt you to say that to me, because I know this man mm-hmm. is very prejudiced. Anything that's not him, they don't like. And I'll say a prayer for him. I'll tell him, I'm going to pray for you tonight, bud. Mm-hmm. You can't allow this to hurt or hate or rage and anger. It turns you bitter. Mm-hmm. You get into such darkness, and when you see a light, you don't know how to handle it. You look at it and you're like, no, this ain't happening. But this is my experience the last few years, how I see things. And if I could teach this to young people, the future just got a whole lot brighter.
I think so too.
Rise, continue to rise.
Rise, yeah.
Right? Rise. Mm-hmm. Oh, like I said, like when it says warriors rise.
Warriors rise.
So I was asked to speak about, quote unquote, the police and everything wrong with them. So I want to address this single-handedly. The police are not the only problem that ties into the disproportionate death of Native Americans and Black and brown people all across America alike. We're also looking at issues in education, housing, public health equity, hiring discrimination, sexual harassment, colorism, ableism, and gentrification. But these are just a few issues of many, and I want to put out a disclaimer that this is simply my opinion, my reality, and my beliefs as an Indigenous and Black person. So for every 1 million Native Americans, an average of 2.9 of them are killed by law enforcement, the highest rate of any racial group in the United States. The native mortality rate is 12% higher than that of African Americans and 3 times higher than white Americans. 1/4 of Native Americans live in poverty, plaguing communities with issues like unemployment, mental illness, drug abuse, and many other issues that lead to an incarceration rate 38% higher than the national average. This is all according to LakotaLaw.org. John T. Williams is one extremely sad policing example of where the policing system failed Black and brown people in the United States. Paul Castaway in 2015 is another example. He was a Native American killed by police for threatening to take his own life. Zachary Bear Heels in 2017 was killed when police could not control his psychotic break. Sadly, Native American communities are also suffer from the highest rates of mental illness among minorities, and this has become a major factor in potentially fatal police interactions. People with mental illness are 16 times more likely to be killed by the police. The problem with policing is not one bad cop, it's not one bad apple. It's the entire system that down to the roots is rotten and broken. The system itself was built on racism. Policing originally formed from slave patrols. And as, according to the MPD, a Minneapolis-based initiative challenging the narrative that police exist to protect and serve said, it is not about suddenly shutting down every department immediately, but gradually and strategically reallocating resources. Moving responsibility away from the police and towards community-based models of safety, support, and prevention. This is what we need to do to protect Black and brown lives. This action in and of itself saves many brown and Black lives, as well as people all across the board. As former Dallas Police Chief David Brown said, "We're asking cops to do too much in this country. Every societal failure we put off on the cops to solve. Not enough mental health funding? Let the cops handle it. Here in Dallas, we had a loose dog problem. Let's have cops chase loose dogs. Policing was never meant to solve all of this. Crisis responders should be well equipped for the crises they handle." So rather than cops armed with guns who are not accustomed to the neighborhoods they're patrolling, we want to make spaces for mental health services, social workers, victims/survivor advocates, religious leaders, neighbors, and friends. All of the people who really make up the fabric of the community, to look out for one another. To really quote-unquote fight crime, we need to provide adequate jobs, more educational opportunities, more arts programs, more community centers, more mental health resources, and more in a say of how our own communities function. We already know that police are actively harming and have a history of violence against marginalized groups, and we already know that social services are majorly underfunded. Imagine what the $165 million that the Minneapolis Police Department received could do to keep our community safe if reinvested. The system that took John T. Williams' life must be defunded. The system that took George Floyd's life must be defunded. The system that took Paul Castaway's life must be defunded. The system that took Zachary Bear Heels must be defunded. The racist system must be defunded. We stand with Indigenous and Black solidarity against police brutality. We are stronger together, and I send prayers to all my relations.
My name is Joaquin Rabideau. This poem was written in honor of Rick Williams called Tuhli. You try to steal my language, make my tongue speak French, I say no, and wear my black bandana. You want to steal my traditions and my way of life, I say no. My heritage is everything. I will not give you an inch. You try to tell me where I can and cannot be, I say it is you. You are standing on stolen ground. Hear the words of Tuhli, the lone wolf. Everything the ground you walk on, the air you breathe is stolen. This land loves us and knows us. You are but strangers. You even try to steal the life of my own brother, one-ish, off the wall. That calm, strong, big bear of a man still lives. You are fooled because you live in darkness. You would even try to dare to steal my soul? No, I tell you, you have no power over me. I have never bent your ways. I will never break. I create worlds with my hands that you cannot understand. I see what you cannot, the lives around me. I lift spirits of my people with my words. Rise. I am a warrior of peace. I am a warrior who will not stop.
Peace, there's rise. Get up. Been 10 years and I'm still rising, saying that there's peace. Learn to be a warrior without violence. We're going to show them we had enough. Give them their words back. Read the people, like John T. Williams was.
Hasquex. Good morning. My name is Landon Brewer from the Bitterroot Salish tribe, and I'm here today to share some of my thoughts with you. According to the Chief Seattle Club, Native people living in Seattle are 7 times more likely to be homeless than non-Native people. I remember when I started to see that I was different from all the white friends I grew up with here. I thought I was just weird. It was when I was in 7th grade that a teacher of mine from the Yakima Nation taught me how to grow in my culture that I understood that I was different, but not in a weird way. I felt connected to something much larger and beautiful. It was said a long time ago that you cannot go down a river in 2 canoes because the river will get wider. Urban Indians feel the clash of living in 2 worlds. Natives can feel guilt or that they have sacrificed too much of themselves when they leave the reservation to live in the city. They may feel let down or sad or disconnected from their native selves and community. Their spirit is lost in translation. We have always been and always will be people who follow our hearts. A person told me once, you can go to a place in your sorrow where light loses its value. Life on the res is real and painful. The people are full of sadness from generations of trauma and seeing no opportunity. Native people are constantly denied the pride in our culture, living in a society that acts like we are invisible and don't matter. The kids on the res want to go live in the city, but they don't know how lonely it can get being the only Indian living in a neighborhood. Money is another problem. Even if a native knows nothing of where they come from, they are still confused at how the world revolves around money. We understand the negativity of money, and yet this society revolves around it. What if we went back to our old ways of living? We are still only a few hundred years from the time when we were free from colonization. Our brains are wired to live off the land, to live close to nature. This makes it hard for us to live in a city. We are a communal people. We are more likely to want to live and work together. There is a way we can walk in both worlds. We can be representatives of our nations and take on the responsibilities of being an ambassador and a teacher. Native spirit and traditional culture are growing stronger, and non-native people are interested in our ways of being and living. When you mention your tribe, your ancestors live again through you. I am proud of who I am, and we are strong people.
So on behalf of Nathan Hale's Native American Club and Shikachi class, they want to give you these gifts to thank you for allowing them to honor you by sharing your story, and they appreciate you so much. So
Share stories.
yeah, share your story and your brother's story. The only thing free in this life is a smile.
Never give an inch.
Believe in yourself. Stay native.
When you fall down, get back up. Don't show how you feel.
Stay true to yourself, and you will become a warrior without violence.
I fight for who I am. I am Native American.
Learn your real history.